Most dads will spend the next 10 years trying to lose the same weight. The same cycle, lose it, gain it back, lose it, gain it back. And we've all been there because we're looking for a different plan. What we need is to become a different person. And everything I share with you today is from Chase Hughes. Chase wrote a book called The Behavior Ops Manual, which I just finished. And he is a behavioral change expert, a hypnosis expert. But it's all applied to various fields, and he worked with the CIA before. I've taken what he's written, and I'm going to apply it to dads who are looking to lose fat, which is, I assume, yourself. But to lose it once and for all. And we do this not by changing our plan, but by changing our identity. So everything you need to know, every slide, everything I share with you is available. I'll send it all to you. Just DM me the keyword below to my Instagram, which is also below. So let's go. I want you to picture an Olympic athlete. This is someone who's got an elite body, elite mindset, elite habits, and overnight they gain 100 pounds. They wake up, they're 100 pounds heavier. How fast do you think they would lose it? They would lose it in record time. Not because they have a better meal plan than you, but because they're carrying weight that is completely incompatible with who they believe they are. Their identity rejects this automatically. And this is what we're building today. Almost every goal setting system ever created is built on the wrong brain. Because we have two brains. We have the thinking brain and we have the deciding brain. And the brain that plans your goals is not the brain that executes the behavior. Execution lives downstairs. Right? This is the brainstem, or the basal ganglia. You probably heard of the limbic system. This is why you know exactly what to do, but you still don't do it. Does that sound familiar? This is not a character flaw. It's simple biology and architecture of your brain. So stop asking yourself, how do I get more motivated? And instead start asking, how do I reprogram the system that decides what feels necessary? Brain one is the human brain, or the prefrontal cortex, which is the bit at the front. And this sets goals, it makes plans, and it writes lists. It speaks language, it understands English. It's not the brain that executes behavior. The second brain, the mammalian brain, is the brainstem, the basal ganglia, the limbic system. That actually executes all behavior. So it runs on images, emotion, repetition, and identity. It doesn't speak English. It cannot be motivated with words alone. So the mammalian brain runs the show. And most coaches that you'll see on social media, they're talking to the wrong one. They're trying to rationalize the change, where it's an emotional change. And what I'm going to take you through now is everything Chase Hughes has been doing for the last 20 years. Right? But I'm going to simplify it. So he has discovered the science to rebuild you. And the 7 steps that he draws on directly from military intelligence research, adapted for this one purpose. And that is to permanently rewire your brain so that you can become a tired, stressed out dad into a dad with full of energy, is proud of how they look and how they feel, without having to lose the same weight over and over again. Step 1 of the 7-step process, target acquisition. The brain has a structure called the reticular activating system, or the RAS, RAS. You're exposed to 8 to 10 million bits of information per second, and your brain keeps about 40. It keeps what it's trained to look for. So when, for example, you think about buying a red Porsche, why not? Midlife crisis, let's get a red Porsche. As soon as you make that decision, your brain puts in a filter. And then notice everywhere you go, you start to see red Porsches. Because they're at the front of your mind. Reticular activating system. So when you say, I want to lose weight, that generic statement, the RAS, the RAS, completely ignores it. You need a precise arrival condition, not a vague wish. The mammalian brain does not speak English, it speaks images. So in other words, Image and emotion, it's like communicating to a dog. Can you explain what you want to do to a dog? If you can, it will work for you. Step 2 is threat modeling. So your brain is not optimized for happiness. It is optimized for threat avoidance. Your amygdala activates 10 times faster and 10 times stronger than all reward circuits combined. Visualizing only success is missing half the equation. So, build 2 vivid images, 2 vivid futures. Future A, vivid, sensory, precise, the dad who shows up fully, strong, calm, confidence. Future B, same habits, same beliefs, same excuses, 10 years from now, and make it feel deeply uncomfortable. Doing nothing is a choice, and that's choosing your future. Staying the same has to start feeling unsafe. What does your kid's dad, i.e. you, look like 10 years from now if nothing changes? And it's controversial to say, but it's helpful if it makes you feel a negative emotion, like shame, for example. Because people talk about, let's say, fat shaming, but it's fine to run towards something, but it's stronger if we're running away from something. Step 3, identity engineering. Your brain will violate logic before it violates identity. If behavior conflicts with identity, behavior changes, not identity. This is why people sabotage goals that don't match who they believe they are. Stop asking yourself, how do I force myself to do this? And start asking, what kind of person would never even question this behavior? Willpower is exhausting because it fights the model instead of rewarding it. When identity shifts, behavior feels obvious. So there's 3 beliefs that you must hold. There's 3 daily behaviors that you must default to, and there's 3 non-negotiables that you must not compromise on. So let's go through the 3 beliefs first. For example, I am someone who takes care of his body the same way he takes care of his family, without negotiation. It's a given. This is just something I do now. My health, this is the second belief, is not a goal I'm working towards, it's who I already am. And the third belief could be, every decision I make today is either building the dad my kids deserve or taking away from him. 3 daily behaviors you default to can be, I move my body every single day. Even if it's 20 minutes, not because I have to, but because that's what I do. A behavior 2 that you could default to is, I close the kitchen after dinner. The evening is where old habits used to live, but not anymore. And the daily behavior number 3 could be, I get to bed before 9:30 p.m. because the dad who shows up tomorrow is built tonight. And finally, the 3 non-negotiables that you never compromise on could be, for example, number 1, I never miss 2 days in a row. 1 missed workout, that's life. 2 is a pattern, and I know the difference. A third non-negotiable could be, a bad day at work does not become a bad night in the kitchen. Those 2 things are never connected, not anymore. And the final non-negotiable could be, I never speak about myself the way I used to. No more, I'm trying to lose weight. I am someone who lives healthy, full stop. So these are not aspirations. They're the rules for your new identity. Number 4, environmental sabotage. Context beats discipline every single time. You're the same person, if you're in a different environment, different behavior. Your basal ganglia runs scripts tied to location, to posture, to time, and to cues. I'll get into that in a second, about posture. Novelty forces the brain out of autopilot. Prediction errors spike. In other words, this is why you see people, when they go on holiday, all of a sudden, they have new routines, new habits, because their environment is different. Same person. Disrupt your environment deliberately. So you could rearrange your kitchen. You could change the phone wallpaper of your future self, which I'll get into in a second. You could put workout gear somewhere in the morning that you can see it. Put new visual cues exactly where old triggers used to be. And the 2 sides of the fridge is a classic example of this. So, left-hand side could be where you're going. Photos and images of your future that you want. So a strong, lean, energetic dad, your kids are there, the life you're building, anything that represents what you want to become. Right? The right-hand side is where you're heading if nothing changes. Your face could be aged using some AI, like FaceApp, for example. You can add weight to yourself using AI. They're images that represent poor health. They're low energy, absence, pictures of tired you. Again, you can use AI images of tired dads, overweight dads. Whatever makes the cost of staying the same feel uncomfortable. Every time you open it, it forces you to choose. So every time you look at the fridge, you have two realities. Right? And the fridge is often the place where you'll slip up, especially when the kids have gone to bed. The FATE model, F-A-T-E. The mammalian brain is often controlled by four things. Focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. That spells FATE as an acronym. Focus. Constant visual exposure to your goals. Not affirmations, actual images your brain can process. So, any app that does imagery changing, like FaceApp for example, you can put that as your wallpaper on your phone. You can print it out, put it on front of the fridge. You can put it as your screensaver on your laptop or home computer. But it's a photo of the body you're building if nothing changes. Images are strong, right? And a healthy present dad everywhere is not going to speed things up, because we can turn on our phone and see guys with six packs. That's the dime a dozen, or 10 a penny. Let's not get too American. But if we see the opposite, what's going to happen if we continue our non-action? That's going to kick us into change. Because again, our amygdala, our threat center, gets activated when we feel threatened. So that's focus. So focus on the negative outcome as opposed to the positive outcome. A, authority. Your nervous system takes proof from perceived and actual authority. So surround your input with sources it respects. Watch and listen to people like Chase Hughes, for example, not random fitness influencers, which maybe I'll fall into. But I'm channeling Chase's brilliance. Follow coaches, follow doctors who speak about science of fat loss, not just the aesthetics. Remove any voice from your feed that makes unhealthy behavior feel normal or acceptable. And if you wouldn't let them into your home, don't let them into your head. Who you consume daily becomes the authority your brain defers to at the moment of decision. So for example, for me, I recently went onto my Instagram, and I didn't realize you could do this. You can filter out what you don't want to see. So I now no longer see MMA, because I find I go down rabbit holes of watching fights, and I don't see any females at all. I know that sounds bad, I'm a married man, obviously happy married, but sometimes you see a woman, it could be she's taking a golf shot and she happens to be a very attractive lady, and you're like, I wouldn't normally watch this golf swing, but now this really attractive woman I like golf, rabbit hole, you lose 5 minutes just looking at nonsense. That's full disclosure. So you can just hide all that. So then when you go on your explore feed, now I've just got loads of boring stuff, so I don't go down these rabbit holes. So make sure the people you put in front of you, you respect, and you feel like these are people I can learn from, not people that can distract me. So that's F, that's A. Now T is tribe. Get around people who expect the new version of you to show up. Social expectations are one of the most powerful forces in human nature. Tell people closest to you exactly who you are becoming. Now they expect it, so that's a social contract. Find even one other dad who's on the same path as you. Join a group where there's healthy behavior is the norm, it's not the exception. And when people around you expect the healthy version of you to show up, you will show up. And finally, E for emotion. Make the future you, the future self, visible, personal and real. Write your future self a letter. Develop a relationship with your future self. Because right now, future you 67-year-old you is a stranger. He doesn't exist. So you have no relationship with him. But if you write yourself a letter at 60, what kind of dad, what kind of granddad do you want to be? Do you want to be the one who's in the nursing home, who's wearing a nappy, whose grandkids reluctantly have to go and see because, you know, they feel guilty? Or do you want to be the granddad at 60 who's going hiking with the grandkids, playing golf with your grandson or granddaughter? Write a letter to your wife and kids to be open in exactly 1 year from today, explaining why you didn't bother to make the changes that you said you would. Put a photo of your kids somewhere you see it before you open the fridge at night. Ask yourself before every decision, is this good for the man I am becoming? The dad your kids are watching right now is future you in training. Make him someone who's worth watching. When all four are aligned, behavior shifts without negotiation. Step 6 of 7, the FEAR protocol, FEAR, is a formula to brainwash a human being. I need the X-Files music now. Neurons that fire together wire together. We've talked about that before. But only if the signal repeats and it carries emotion. Repetition without emotion is just noise. For example, you set the alarm at 6 a.m. every morning to work out. You go through the motions, you feel nothing about it, and after 3 weeks, you start hitting snooze. After 5 weeks, you stop entirely. The repetition was there, but there was no emotional reason driving it. Your brain treated it exactly like the low battery beep on a smoke detector. Something to eventually tune off, but you ignore it. Emotion without repetition fades. So, repetition without emotion is noise, and emotion without repetition just eventually fades. For example, you watch a powerful documentary about a dad who died young and left his kids without a father. You are genuinely moved. That night, you meal prep, plan your workouts and write down your goals. But you do nothing to keep that emotion alive. 2 weeks later, the feeling is gone and you're back with the same habits. The emotion was real, but without the repetition, it faded like a dream. Just goes at your head before lunchtime. So both together though, when you have repetition and emotion, the brain updates its model of reality. So F, as a recap, focus, daily exposure to goals, not exceptions. Visual signals, not words. E, emotions, tie every habit to a relief, a pride or safety. Tie the alternative to failure and consequence. And finally, then A, agitation, keep disrupting the environment. Never let the old identity get comfortable again. And finally, repetition, track it all until discipline appears. This is really important because most people quit during the bridge. The bridge is the uncomfortable gap between starting a behavior and it becoming your identity. You need a tiny amount of discipline at the start, then the habit will form. Once the habit forms, you no longer need that discipline. This is just who you are, it's what you do. And after that, reversing it would require more energy. And the brain hates wasting energy. So people that you see going to the gym, you think they're disciplined, but they're not. They just crossed the bridge and now it's a habit. To not go to the gym would be more stressful for them. So this is deep, permanent change. So how do you apply this to dads? The evening trigger loop, the danger zone. The most common failure point for every dad is kids go to bed. Exhaustion hits, the kitchen calls, and the old script runs. This is an untrained mammalian brain running on autopilot. It's not weakness. The trigger is kids in bed, silence, decompression. The old behaviors are snacking, drinking, mentally checking out. The identity, I went a bit South African there. The identity conflict is future you would never do this to himself. So the fix is not willpower at 10 p.m, not going to happen. The fix is pre-decided, identity consistent responses installed before the trigger hits. Let me explain. For example, you already know that when the kids go to bed, you brush your teeth immediately. Not because brushing your teeth requires discipline, but because you decided that at 9 a.m. that day, when you were thinking clearly, you knew later on today, when the kids go to bed, I'm going to brush my teeth immediately. And your brain knows that nobody wants to eat after brushing your teeth. And your environment backs this up. So the biscuits are gone. The fridge has your future self, both versions, staring back at you. Your late night snacks have been replaced with a bottle of water on the counter. And your old trigger has nowhere to land because the environment it used to live in no longer exists. The old script needed a certain environment to run. You destroyed that environment on purpose. So the old script runs and finds nothing to attach to. Make your future self visible and real. Your mammalian brain doesn't care about the future you. He doesn't exist, like we said. So you have to make him visible. And you can use AI, apps like FaceApp, to aid you, make you grotesquely overweight, give you bean stains down your jumper, have you sitting there with your belly hanging out the bottom of your shirt. Whatever terrifies you about the potential future of not taking action, point to that. I'll throw up an example here if you're watching of an image that I sometimes look at. But print that photo out, put it on your fridge, the bathroom mirror, the phone screen, wherever you're going to see it, and your mammalian brain begins forming a real relationship with that person. Every decision starts filtering through. Is this going to be good for him? My future self. Because discipline is simply the ability to prioritize the needs of your future self ahead of your current self. When your future is real and visible, that prioritization becomes automatic. Try protection overrides everything. And most people try to lose weight for themselves, which is why they fail. Because the emotional connection isn't strong enough for the mammalian brain at 10 p.m. when the snacks are calling from the fridge. But your kids, that is a different level of emotion entirely. Your mammalian brain is wired for tribe protection above almost everything else. So ask yourself, what identity am I modeling for my kids every single day? What does the dad they're watching tell them is possible? And what are they learning about how a man takes care of himself? This is not to guilt trip you. This is your strongest emotional anchor. This is the connection most fat loss programs never touch. So the bottom line is, you do not have a weight problem. You have an identity problem. Identity problems are not fixed with meal plans. They are fixed by rewiring who you believe you are at a mammalian level. The 7 steps, to recap, are: step 1, target acquisition. Give your RAS something precise to lock onto. The red Porsche, for example. Number 2, threat modeling. Make staying the same feel unsafe. Heart disease, public shame, divorce. Number 3, identity engineering. Write the rules of your new identity. I am the kind of dad who does X. Number 4, environmental sabotage. Context beats discipline. Change the environment. Number 5, fate model. Program the mammalian brain. Number 6, the fear protocol. Combine repetition and emotion. Number 7, track it until discipline disappears. Cross that bridge from discipline to identity. When the identity updates, the body follows automatically. No white knuckling, no forcing, no willpower at 10 p.m. Just a dad who lives as a healthy person, because this is who you are now. Thank you.